What no one ever told you is that the only way to unlock and reclaim your power is through your pain. The pain you thought was destroying you was actually building you into your highest, most powerful and resilient self. Pain shapes our lives, our identities, and paints the colors of our emotional landscape. But the word emotion literally means energy in motion. So our emotions are meant to move through us, not stay with us or destroy us. Our emotions are really meant to amplify us and empower us. And while emotions of joy and love and fulfillment do that for us, it's so normal that pain and suffering don't. But what if I told you that your pain could empower and amplify you? What if your pain is actually the key to your power and success? And what if you could alchemize and turn your pain and suffering and heartbreak into unstoppable power? Well, today we're going to talk about the 3 gifts of turning your pain into power, which are the gifts of perspective, purpose, and of course, power. Perspective is the first gift that pain gives you and allows you to truly understand what matters in life. Perspective on life and what truly matters gives you the second gift of purpose and better understanding your destiny in this life. And when you know why you're here, when your pain has direction and your story has meaning, you have the third and final gift of unstoppable power. Hey my angels, I'm Christian and welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk all things mindset, manifestation, spiritual healing, and beauty. By the end of this video, you will learn exactly how to turn your pain into power, because everything I do is about helping you reclaim your power and become your highest, most abundant and powerful self. Turning your pain into power is all about identity work, and you already know this is exactly what I teach all over my Instagram and TikTok. And I go into even more detail in my higher self method, where I give you emotional, energetic, behavioral, and physical shifts for you to become your highest self. Because your higher self is your most powerful self, and they understand that your pain is the fuel and key to unlocking your potential and power. Now, if I'm going to teach you exactly how to turn your pain into power, you must first trust me. You know, growing up, I always knew I was destined to be successful and inspire the world with my voice and my power. But what I didn't realize then was the pain and trauma of growing up with a narcissistic and abusive stepmother would be part of that power. I didn't realize then that the pain of growing up queer and having to navigate repression and ostracization and being different would be part of that power. I didn't realize then that the grief of losing my beautiful younger brother Gabriel to cancer when he was just 10 would be part of that power today. Because how could I heal you without first knowing what it takes to heal a broken heart? How could I speak to your grief without first being scarred by it myself? And how could I awaken your power if I've never had to first fight to reclaim my own? And I know you've been through this too, because as humans, we all want to be powerful, but we forget that the path to power is almost always forged through pain. To know what true power is, you must first know weakness. To know what true peace is, you must first weather the storms. And I know that the storms of life can really feel like life is over. And sometimes they take weeks or months or years or even a lifetime to heal, and that's okay. But what I want you to remember is that you did not come onto this earth to live in pain and suffering. Your pain was always meant to be the path to unlocking your power and living the life you're destined to live. Because every setback is a setup for an even greater comeback. And that's true alchemy. So on that note, let's talk about the first gift that pain gives you, which is the gift of perspective. Perspective changes the way you see the world. Because when you've truly suffered, you stop looking at life from a surface level and superficial perspective. Pain and trauma and heartbreak and grief force you to slow down. They really force you to reflect on what's important and what matters to you and make you question everything. They force you to grow against your will so much faster than you would like. Most people think perspective is something you gain as you grow older. And for the most part, that's true. But pain and trauma and grief and heartbreak make you wiser and older far beyond your years. The grief and experience of losing someone you love can give you the kind of emotional wisdom most people take decades to acquire, if at all. Because when you've experienced true pain and heartbreak, you don't move through life unconsciously. You become intuitive. You become a deep thinker. You become more compassionate and more empathetic. You become more resilient. When you've experienced death and grief, you understand the fragility of life. You value every moment you're alive and breathing, and you value the people who are still alive with you. When you've experienced heartbreak, you understand the value of loving deeply and cherishing those who heal and protect your heart. When you've experienced rejection, you understand the importance of making people feel seen and heard and loved. And so even though pain can feel devastating and cruel, I want you to remember that it gives you the kind of depth and wisdom that comfort never could. And sometimes I think I don't even care about the perspective because the pain feels so heavy and overwhelming. They say ignorance is bliss, and sometimes I think I would have rather not gone through those things and be ignorant than have gone through them and gained the perspective I have now. But perspective is the first gift of pain because it shows you what truly, truly matters in life. The perspective that comes from pain is what makes you human. Perspective is what makes you wise and sensitive and see through the illusions of the surface level. Perspective teaches you to stop abandoning yourself after rejection. Perspective teaches you that life is precious and that love is sacred. Because once pain changes your perspective, you can never see the world the same way again. And so on that note, let's talk about the second gift of pain, which is the gift of purpose. Because once pain gives you perspective, it starts giving your life meaning. And meaning is what transforms pain into purpose. The people who have changed the world are never people who have lived easy lives. They're people who took their pain and transformed it into something bigger and better than themselves. Artists turn pain into art. Healers turn pain into healing. Leaders turn pain into wisdom. Creators turn pain into expression. And survivors turn pain into strength. Your pain and your trauma really reveal what you're here to teach and create and overcome. Because your deepest pain will always point towards your highest purpose. Every single wound in my life, from the narcissistic abuse to the grief of losing my best friend and my beautiful brother Gabriel, to the years of feeling like I was too much and not enough at the same time, all pointed me here, to this work, to this conversation, and to you. I didn't choose my pain, but my pain is what directed me towards my purpose, to what I'm doing now, helping you transform your pain through perspective and purpose into power. Because the same is true for you. The thing that hurt you the most is not stopping you from reaching your destiny. It's actually where your destiny and purpose live. Because the specific way you've suffered is the specific way you're qualified to heal and to lead and to serve. If you've experienced grief, you may be called to help others heal. If you've been silenced or abused, you could be called to use your voice to liberate those who can't. Because when your pain is channeled into something purposeful and transformative, it no longer feels meaningless. And once your pain gains meaning and purpose, you stop identifying as a victim of your suffering and start becoming the creator of your power. So on that note, let's talk about the third and final gift of pain, which is the gift of power. Every single time someone has ever hurt me, betrayed me, rejected me, or underestimated me, I've always used that pain to become even more powerful, even more attractive, even more abundant, magnetic, and successful. Being underestimated for my work as a content creator, as a personality of inspiration, and as an entrepreneur made me go even harder on my vision. Being betrayed and abused by my stepmother made me promise to never abuse or betray myself. Being rejected made me learn how to never need someone else's love to love myself. And losing my beautiful brother Gabriel gave me the perspective that this one life is so precious, and I could never waste it and not help and heal and inspire the world. Because to have perspective from your pain and to find your purpose from that perspective makes you undeniably powerful. Real power is knowing exactly who you are after everything tried to break you. Real power is refusing to let pain harden you and make you cold and bitter. Real power is choosing to still remain soft and loving and hopeful after everything you've survived. There's something so undeniably and incredibly powerful and magnetic and radiant about someone who's found their purpose and stepped into their power because of their pain. But I would never invalidate the fact that pain and trauma and grief can consume us, and it's only normal that they do. But because emotions are energy in motion, we must release and let them go. Because the final gift of power actually comes from letting go. Not forgetting, not suppressing, but from truly letting go. Holding on to pain poisons you. No matter what happened to you, you have to forgive and you have to release it. Because the feeling of forgiveness is one of the highest emotions and frequencies a human can carry. And forgiveness isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about releasing resentment and moving forward. Use that anger, that resentment, that pain, and that grief to fuel and power your success. Use that pain and resentment to not only prove them wrong, but to prove to yourself that you were always right. Because that's what it means to truly turn your pain into power. And that's what it means to truly be an alchemist. So to recap, the three gifts of turning your pain into power are the gift of perspective, which truly allows you to understand what matters to you, the gift of purpose, which gives meaning to the pain and directly points you towards your destiny, and the gift of power, which allows you to use your pain to transform into your highest, most powerful self. Sorry, my camera died, but I want you to remember that the version of you, the highest, most powerful version of you that has it all, the life, the love, the success, and the freedom, could never have created all of that without the pain, without gaining the perspective on life, without discovering their true purpose and calling, and stepping into their highest power. So if you remember one thing, it's to never run away from your pain, as hard as it may be and as heavy as it may feel. I want you to feel it, release it, and transform it into power. I love and adore you so much, my angels, and I'm so grateful for all your love and all your support. All your messages and all your comments never go unnoticed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another video.